The 2018 NFL Draft is just 6 days away, and players who have sacrificed themselves, worked hard, and enjoyed a successful college career will soon see their dreams come true by playing in the NFL. And we're here to talk it up with one of those players today as we go one-on-one with Pitt quarterback Max Browne on the OFN meeting room with Greg DePalma. It's Friday, April 20th, 2018. I'm Greg DePalma, and thanks for tuning in to the OFN meeting room as we talk NFL draft with Max Browne. Max, thanks for speaking with us today.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me on.
All right, Max. So as a player who enters the draft experience, knowing in advance that he may or may not get drafted, what are your expectations when next Saturday rolls around late in the day?
Yeah, expectation-wise, I think best case scenario, I'm probably a late round pick. But just to kind of monitor expectations, I guess I'm kind of going in with the mindset that expecting, I guess, the worst, and that would be a free agent deal or a free agent opportunity.
Okay.
But I'm aware that my college journey was a little different, so it could be all over the place, whether it be a late round draft pick or a free agent opportunity of some kind.
Yeah, we'll get into the journey in just a second. And about the whole free agency thing. I mean, I've heard before, okay, yeah, when you get down to it, let's say it's the 7th round and you're thinking, well, may I or may I not get drafted? Is this something that you think about and how everybody thought about regarding, well, is it better that I don't get drafted because I could choose where I want to go? Is that something you've already talked to your agent about, or is that something that you just already know about or have even thought about?
Yeah, it is something I have known about. I mean, I haven't specifically talked to my agent about that, but I'm sure I will here in the coming days. I think I mean, you hear that as a quarterback just watching the draft in years past, just that, I mean, it might be a better scenario to not get drafted and obviously be able to kind of pick where you go. But, I mean, for me, at the end of the day, it's a childhood dream to get drafted.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way you're ever going to kind of pass up that opportunity or be disappointed that you do get drafted. But I think there is kind of a silver lining in that the latter option of being able to kind of pick where you go and maybe try to give yourself the best scenario to find some success.
All right, now just to familiarize the fans out there with your career, remind them about your journey, Max. You were a 5-star prospect out of high school. You went to USC. You had these big dreams of a college career. You won the starting job against Sam Darnold. So if there are NFL fans that aren't too familiar with college, maybe that name, of course, will trigger things. That was the year after Cody Kessler left the NFL. And if the fans know, of course, Cody Kessler, who started his career with Cleveland. Your first start didn't go well with Alabama. They beat up you guys big in that game, in that first game of the year, and you were replaced by Darnold after just 3 starts. So that's where I want to begin here, Max. So first of all, some people say you beat out Sam because if not, you would have transferred. So how do you respond to those opinions, and why do you believe you won the job that season? Because that's really what I want to know is, why do you think you won the job, meaning, hey, you know what, I think I outplayed Sam, and therefore that's something that is interesting to fans out there to understand your talent level.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think the simple answer why I won that job, I feel like I outplayed him. And I think if you asked, I mean, hindsight's 20/20. Obviously, Sam's poised to be a top pick, but I think if you ask a lot of people in that building, they would agree with that comment. And that just August of 2016, and I guess that entire off season, just outplayed him in terms of just quarterback play in practice and in scrimmages and all that. And then obviously things didn't align for me those first 3 games, but yeah, I mean, that's how I look at it. Obviously, pumped for Sam and the success he had, but with that specific aspect, that's kind of how I look at it.
What do you think when you look back at that time? Is there did certain thoughts go into your head as far as, you know what, if I just would have done this better, if I would have relaxed a little bit more, if I would have done this more, then maybe I could have held on to the job another week or two, and maybe that's all I would have needed to kind of get into a rhythm, and then I would have been with the team for the rest of the year, and maybe I would have led that
Yeah.
team to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you think about that exactly. You almost go to an extreme. You're thinking about every single throw. I mean, I still look back and think, I mean, if there's kind of 3 throws that stick out in my head that if you complete those throws, which may have been touchdown passes, that the dialect or the dialogue of those 3 games changes and may not have forced my coach's hand kind of thing. You play all those scenarios in your head. But at the end of the day, that was a long time ago. It's part of who I am.
Mm-hmm.
You try to grow from it, but I mean, having to live through it, I think you definitely replay those scenarios and kind of, I guess, go back and kind of check yourself, like you said, as to what I could have done better and try to grow from that and use it moving forward.
All right, now you transferred to Pitt as a grad transfer last season, and if it wasn't so ironic, it would be laughable considering the week after the best game of your career, you beat Rice. You go 28 of 32, 410 yards, 4 touchdowns. And then the next week you injure your shoulder against Syracuse, and your college career ends on that very field. So what did you try and do to to make something good from that experience?
Yeah, I think that experience and kind of the experience you mentioned at SC, it gives you a lot of resolve. I think I'm confident going into the pro ranks and just with life moving forward that I've seen a lot, prepared for anything that life can throw at me. But I think, I mean, in terms of football specific stuff, I've seen it all. I've seen coaching changes. I've seen injuries. I've been benched. I've been named captain. I've been player of the week. I've seen the ups and the downs. And I think when you're going to an NFL level where it's not realistic to throw for 400 yards every week, and it's not realistic to win every single game. So you're going to have challenges. I think I'm prepared as any quarterback in this draft to handle those things, and that's kind of how I look at it, and try to take a positive from an up and down college career.
All right. First of all, before I leave the Pitt situation there, what did you think about Kenny, or what do you think about Kenny Pickett's career path? Because I actually was pretty impressed with. I saw him the week before the Miami game, and then I actually liked the way he looked at that. In that one game that I actually picked you guys to upset Miami that week, and he played well. So he looks like he's got a good career ahead of him.
Yeah, I'd say he's got a great career ahead of him. Opportunities right at his fingertips. I spent a month at Pitt this past April, or at March and April, and
okay.
I think the most impressive thing with him is just he stayed level-headed. I mean, obviously a true freshman guy coming in there, upsetting Miami. That was kind of the high point of our season, and he was kind of at the center of that. And to stay grounded, because I think the expectations are high on him, and that's not always easy. It'll be interesting to see how that unfolds this fall. But a great kid, stayed grounded, and has all the ability and the opportunity moving forward to have a great career.
All right, what do you have to do to improve your game? What are your weaknesses?
Yeah, I think obviously I'm not necessarily a dual threat guy, so making sure that I'm staying as mobile as possible. I think I have, in terms of inside the pocket, I have feet that'll compare with anyone out there. But obviously just making sure that that's something I'm always improving on. Besides that, I think it's just growing with, making sure that I know what NFL offense is and what to expect there. But I think every offseason it's something similar, trying to improve the nuances of your game and try to grow from there. Obviously, NFL's a whole different animal, so just being prepared for new coverages and schemes and all that, and taking advantage of opportunity, I think is huge for me.
Now, did you have 5 head coaches at college?
I did. Yep. Had 5 of them.
I don't even know how that's possible, but you did it. So does that mean you had 5 different playbooks?
Luckily, no. So 5 head coaches. I had, 4 different TV coaches, but 3, or I guess 1, 2, 3, basically 3 playbooks.
3.
For the transition from Sark to Helton, they kind of kept the same terminology. So. Yeah.
And how did you feel like you grasped that? Okay, I mean that's definitely something that that was not a problem.
Yeah, I would definitely say a huge strong suit in my game is football knowledge, knowledge of the game, being able to process stuff. I think that's definitely a plus for me.
All right, now, you since you went to both Pitt and USC, and you had a player that wanted to know the differences, high school player, and they were deciding, hey, you know what, I'm thinking of going to Pitt or USC. How would you talk about both schools?
That's a great question. I would say at SC, I mean, the thing that comes to my head right away is just they're two totally different lifestyles. So at Pitt, you're getting obviously colder weather, just a different city life. In LA, it's the sunshine, it's the West Coast. It's a lot busier lifestyle. So if you like one over the other, they're two totally opposite spectrums in terms of that regard. But a lot of the day-to-day stuff, the weight room deals, the strength staff, the coaches, how they handle meetings, a lot of that is the exact same. At SC, obviously, you're getting a lot more high-profile kids, so that comes with a lot of expectations and hype that you don't necessarily get at Pitt. So it's just different. It's not bad or good. It's just different.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, I think the places are different, but at the end of the day, ball is ball. And I think that's one thing that made my transition to Pitt relatively easy is that, I mean, football players are football players, and they kind of approach the game the same way.
Okay. And, of course, you grew up in Seattle, so that means, if you think about it, West Coast, and yet you had the weather that was more like Pitt. So you had the combination of the two in Seattle. Interesting enough, with Pete Carroll there, former USC coach, USC ties, and the fact that they really don't seem to have any quarterbacks on their roster other than Russell Wilson that you can count on. I mean, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? Did you grow up a Seattle fan?
Yeah, 100% grew up a Seattle fan. In fact, just had a little local pro day. I'm not exactly sure what they would call it, but local workout with them 2 days ago. And, yeah, it's no secret. I mean, the quarterback situation in terms of guys after Russell's a little up in the air. And definitely a team to look out for moving forward.
All right. Now, you have a degree in communications at USC and a marketing master's at Pitt. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay,
yes.
So if you don't end up playing in the NFL, or let's just say it's a short career, or let's say you have a long career, and now you're thinking about what's next. What will you try and do for another career? Do you have one or the other that you're favoring?
In terms of one or other, in terms of my degrees, you said?
Yeah, like is there like communications?
Yeah.
Is there something like, are you thinking about maybe getting into announcing, broadcasting? Would that be your first choice?
Yeah, and I'm actually finishing up my MBA from SC as well, so I got a jump start in grad school out there. So I'll finish up with 3 degrees actually.
Nice.
Here when it's all said and done, but I'd love to combine them. I think your question's spot on in terms of what would I want to do. I mean, after football combine, I'd love to get into color. Would love to do that. Give it a go at that. I think that'd be awesome. Just stay around the game and be able to comment on my knowledge of the game. And I also would interested in something in business, intrigued with startups and kind of that whole world. So would love to get involved in that, or whether it's start my own deal, who knows? But combining the both of them would be an ideal scenario for me post football.
Well, marketing and broadcasting, let me tell you something, Max. I've been doing this for about 30 years, and they go hand in hand. So
I believe it.
Yeah. You should go hand in hand if you're going to be successful. So I think you got the right combination there. Look, it was great talking to you, Max. I know things didn't work out as well as you would have liked in college, but you have still hopefully a long way to go. Let's hope that you start getting some breaks. And if you do, you'll be able to take advantage of them. And I'm sure you're more prepared to do that than most other kids. So best of luck. We look forward to talking to you again on the other side of the draft and see how things are going. And best of luck. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks. Yeah, appreciate you having me on today.
You got it, Max. Take care. All right, that's Max Browne. So Max Browne, former Pitt and USC quarterback. That would be a nice story. I mean, I see Seattle written all over Max Browne. How many draft picks does Seattle have, by the way? I know it's Seattle. I remember I was looking at Seattle's draft pick situation not too long ago. We were doing our mock draft show, which is available on demand. We did the show yesterday with Dan Shanka, so make sure you keep that in mind. Yeah, I remember that. Seattle has 3 7th-round draft picks. Keep that in mind. 226, 248, and 250. So if Seattle wants to take a chance on Max Browne, they've got the 7th-round ammo to do it. All right, so that would be a nice story, and we look forward to talking to Max again and seeing how his career goes. Look, he's got the talent. He went to high school, 5-star prospect, and that comes with talent. So it just didn't work out for him. A lot of coaches, a lot of playbooks, injuries, all sorts of bad luck. Hey, it sounds like like I said, I wasn't just blowing smoke. If there's the type of kid that has the wherewithal to, and the drive to make it work at the NFL, it didn't work in college. I think Max can do it. So best of luck to Max. And we look forward to talking to him again after the draft. So don't forget, whole next week, all sorts of draft programs here on Arrowheads Football Radio Network. We've got more interviews with more draftable players. We've got Dan Shanka on a few times. So actually, we've got Dan on probably about 5 times in the next couple of weeks. We've got Jet shows for you Jet fans. So we've got a lot to cover here for the NFL draft in the next couple of weeks, pre, during, and post. So make sure to stop in and join us for more programming and content right here at Arrowheads.com and the Arrowheads Football Radio Network. So thanks to Max Browne of Great DePalma. We'll see you next time on the OFN Meeting Room.